Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another rendition of Champions Queue EUEdition. My name is DrBrilmann. I am, as always, joined here by Zanzarah.
Yo, yo.
And we are back with some nice takes on the actual meta, how things are working, and etc. You know the drill. I don't really have to explain anything to you right now. I believe we had somewhat of 6 episodes by this point. So the drill is pretty simple. We talk about champions, we get excited, we get into heated debates about what sucks and what doesn't, and things happen the way they should be. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty, so we had a little bit of a delay, but I think it's in a certain way even beneficial because we had both big patches already going on, which is the 12.10 and 12.11, and I think that right now meta is somewhat shaped, right? We kind of know what to expect in every single game that we go into it, so we can take a closer look at basically whatever is happening on the Rift.
I mean, true, yeah.
So, as always, we're going to go through individual lanes, but some of the lanes are going to be a little bit more exciting, some of the lanes are going to be a little bit less exciting, but a little bit of a stats for you before we begin. Who do you think is going to be amongst the most banned champions right now in the game? Well, at the very least, if we look at Ultraliga.
I mean, it's. I know what champions, right? Because you sent me a list, so.
That's cheating, okay?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say anything, but it's of course Lucian, right? Because Lucian have best bot lane right now. I think. I mean, at least in 12-11, they were the best bot lane for a long time. Yeah, so I think it's just kind of common to ban him on the red side. I think usually. Then the Wukong also, I mean, one of the best junglers right now. It feels like you kind of have to trade Wukong Volibear, but people really like to ban Volibear on blue side to tap Wukong ban, and you kind of have to answer it with Wukong ban on red side. So it's just basically a handshake. And then it's we see a little bit ban of Senna, right? But some teams just don't play it, This is why I think we don't see it that much. And there's also GP Gwen, right? Just kind of, I mean, top lane has really strong champions right now to impact the game, I feel like. And I think GP Gwen, I mean, a lot of middle pack teams, they just trying to play tanks. And really good teams just pick GP Gwen into that. I think it's just the best ban. I mean, just best picks into tanks overall, on sites. So yeah, I mean, this is why we see usually them banned if you want to pick Sejani or Sion, you just want to get rid of GP and Gwen for sure.
Well, you basically ticked all the boxes because we've got Lucian with 33 bans. He is indeed the most banned champion out there. Yeah, definitely not surprising, just because I believe it was even considered to be the best bot lane from 12.10, even not even 12.11. So it's 2 patches already.
I mean, even earlier, I think Lucian Nami. I mean, even from a side times, no, Lucian Nami was on top. So it's no surprises, but we
probably yeah. I can't say that I remember MSI meta too well, but yeah, probably even at MSI already, but now from the beginning of the season, we haven't seen much of him. But then with these 2 patches, as soon as durability was introduced, Lucian just was basically dominated to the ground. He's basically just a slave boy at this point that is just going to get punched by everyone who can. Then we've got Gwen with 27. People really don't like Gwen right now and don't like playing against her. Wukong and Senna are really, really popular too with 24 bans. Senna, interestingly enough, has quite a bit of popularity on the Polish scene. So she kind of sits on the top with Wukong. And then, yes, GP with 19 bans. So you could say that there's a certain pattern that a lot of top side is getting attention, or the AD carries. I believe from a certain point of view, these 2 lanes right now are probably the most impactful, top lane and ADC.
I mean, I don't know. I think it's actually working the opposite way. It's more about you don't have like many champions on AD carry, and on top to like be impactful. This is why it's important to buy the ones what are impactful, But because like on mid lane you are actually like 20 picks right now. You can go Corki, you can go like Ari, Lissandra, LeBlanc. There is too many pings, so it's actually just no point to ban something, right? And it's the same in jungle. In jungle there is like 3 champions, right? Wukong, Viego, and Volibear. So you just get rid of Wukong, just try to take 1-for-1, then probably both teams happy,
Mm-hmm. Interestingly, we're going to get to the jungle a little bit later, but there's a certain shift in the ideas when it comes to Ultraliga, and I think that it's going to be a little bit different in the LFL. So I'm going to be quite curious where the discussion is going to lead us in that particular regard. But let's start with the top lane, because just to get things straight, top lane 5 most big champions are relatively simple. We've got GP and Gnar as basically the leaders of the board with 13 picks. Then we've got Camille with 10, Ornn with 9, and Gwen and Jace with 7. And I think that's pretty much justifiable, as these guys are just pretty much all around the place, with Camille being somewhat of a comfort pick that comes like from the previous metas. But all other champions are there just because they're very good, especially right now, and they fit in most of team compositions.
I mean, yeah, I think like GP and Gwen like overall just pretty strong right now, and if you have like really good top laner like who can like make use of it, it's really good to get them like one on the other. Like then Gnar, like the third one is Gnar just because I don't think he's like super strong, but he's like for sure he can blind him. Like there is not really like counter pick. He kind of gonna be fine into everything, And then we see like Camille. Camille is kind of fine if like everything else is out and into tanks. And it's for sure probably like there is the players who are kind of known for their Camille's, so this is why we see it like a lot. Ornn just best tank, so probably if people don't want to give engage, they just ban Ornn. That's all. And I mean a little bit of Jace picks, but I guess Jace he's not that strong right now, right? Especially with the durability patch, but he's pretty good, I think, into like GP and Gwen, especially as a counter pick kind. But you need to be like really good at Jace, right? So I mean, it's like I don't think it's working that well, but people are still trying kind.
It feels like Jace right now, especially when it comes to Ultraliga, it feels like Jace is somewhat of a to-go champion when you want to have a good set of damage. Maybe you don't have GP on the board either. So you're kind of looking like for a certain substitute. And I feel like some of the teams approach it as a substitute for GP, right? Because you're still going to provide the damage. It's not going to be that big as, for example, critical chance GP. But you're still going to poke the shit out of your opponents.
Yeah.
You're still going to be able to get a lot of impact in there. So it's kind of justifiable.
I mean, yeah, the problem is like with Jace, because like with GP Gwen, they're just like good into tanks. They get like free scale, But the problem with Jace, he's like really bad into tanks, because he just after Frozen Heart, he can't play the game. This is the problem with him. So like this is, I didn't check like Ultraliga, right? But like usually in the rails and our screens, like people just mostly pick Jace into GP or Gwen, because if you end up like Ornn versus Jace, it's like not fun for Jace.
Yeah, I don't believe we had a lot of matchups with Jason to Ornn, so that kind of, emphasizes the point a little bit. Interestingly, though, we've seen a few Vladimirs now and then. This is pretty much something that I do remember, actually, from the MSI meta.
Yeah, we saw it a bit.
And I'm kind of happy. I'm kind of happy to see him on the lane, to be honest, because I really missed this type of like unique champion that we don't really get to see a lot.
I did like personally, like in our league, I think we don't see Vladimir overall, but I guess it's can work to GP. I guess this kind of picks, people like pick because just let them GP pick Vladimir, and like Vladimir like was good in tier, can like run him down later on. But this all these picks, you know, they're kind of more like a counter pick, right? And it's important. I mean, I don't think I think especially in this meta, it's not even like a counter pick. You know, you need to be just like be a really good Vladimir, for example, to play to GP. If you're not, GP probably gonna like even win the lane and outscales you.
Well, I don't remember if we've seen any actually like Vladimir GP matchups. I can't tell for sure.
I mean, I assume because this is like, I mean, maybe into Gwen because
Into
I mean,
Gwen, I think into Gwen, yeah.
because like this, you definitely don't pick Vladimir in Torn, you know. There is like a kind of not many picks you can pick in Torn, you know. This is why he's like a kind of most picked also on top side.
I mean, he's the own supremacy. I believe on the last broadcast we had it with Ultraliga, when we had it with the fake one with Tom, we basically, like, at a certain point we just dropped the game and we started to talk about the fact that Ornn is the supremacy above everything. He's the tank, he's the assassin, he's the way to win the game, right? Just change your logo from there, you know, fist bump to Ornn and just basically have him as the face of the game. And it really feels so. Whenever you have an Ornn in the game, it feels like all eyes are just kind of like automatically set on this champion because he has so much impact on, especially in this meta right now.
Yeah, I mean it's true. I mean it's just like really easy to kind of, you know, especially like in earls to just get like engaged. And I think his like laning phase is pretty stable, like compared to like other tanks. So yeah, I mean he's just like, yeah, he's like really easy to execute, I think, champion right now.
We're gonna come back to Ornn a little bit later because we've got an interesting shift in the mid lane that was introduced in Ultraliga. I don't know if this is the case in LFL, but I guess we'll see. Regardless, though, when it comes to top lane, I feel like it's one of the most stable lanes in a certain way. We don't really see a lot of changes. We see people just going either for comfort picks or picks that just work in the contemporary meta, and that's pretty much it. You know, so I believe we can really drop the top lane and go to the jungle, because jungle feels a little bit more interesting. We've got the impactful three, how you put it, with Wukong, Viego, and Volley. Wukong being picked in 21 games, Viego being picked in 20. But then we've got, in Ultraliga we have it slightly different. We've got Lilia and Volibear with 7 games. And then Kindred and Jarvan with 5 games. And now, as people say, hear me out on this one, because I remember that we've been even talking about it, I believe, on one of the renditions of the Champions Q2, and it felt like it, especially when we went into this season of Ultraliga, that in Ultraliga people started to drop early game junglers in favor of something like a Wukong, something like a Viego, and pretty much that's it, to try and impact the map in a little bit of a different way. So what is your actually way of understanding jungle right now? Because I feel like we've got this too, and then there's certain things that kind of work, because we occasionally see Talia, we occasionally see Lee Sin, we see these guys like Lilia and Volibear and Kindred and Jarvan. But in Ultraliga, it just feels like you've got only 2 junglers in the game, and that's it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, right now overall, I feel like, I mean, if like, I guess just like in Ultraliga, people just like find to like handshake Wukong Viego. I mean, I know like a lot of teams kind of just like happy to do this trade, but I think just Wukong is just like better champion overall right now. So it's just and like only find handshake, I guess you can get like with Volibear Wukong. And yeah, I mean the like overall, I feel like Volibear is like probably like really good right now. Maybe like same as Wukong, maybe even better, just because like we see like a lot of slow games, right? When there is like a lot of scaling picks, and Volibear kind of provide like safety in early game for them. So yeah, you get like you manage to like scale up, not really like give every objective, you know, for free. This kind of stuff when you get Volibear.
So it's about controlling the map early rather than anything
of course,
else.
because like right now, I mean, it's like of course you can get like Viego, you know, but I think that right now just for example, you don't really want to play like Viego Corki. It's a bit like hard, and your like jungle mid is really weak, you know. You want to have like Volibear Corki, right, or at least like Wukong Corki. So like with Viego, the problem is with Viego, he's really like depends on the draft a lot, and even if you pick like Viego 1-2, you kinda I mean, enemy kind of know what you want to have in your draft already, and if you don't, if you're not gonna go for it, you're gonna have troubles later on, you know. So this is why, I mean, like I personally don't think like Viego is that strong, and I think like Volibear Wukong just top 2 junglers. And yeah, that's all. I mean, and then of course we see like Lilia. I mean, I guess I'm not sure if someone does, but I guess someone playing like AD mid laners like Yon, Yasuo. Lilia is right now, I think, just the best CP jungler what you can get. So it's like overall, this I think makes sense for her to like be, you know, like single AP. I think she's fine, you know, but I mean, for Lily, just kind of hard to play overall, like late game team fights. I feel like if enemy have like Azir Corki, you know, you like in late game you just get like two shotted by everything. Yeah, and then we see like Kindred. I mean, this is kind of like cheesy picks, right? I think like it's like you can play it, right? But it's definitely not the meta pick.
Yeah,
This is what I'm
definitely not
saying.
the most impactful
And
and the meta thing that you can have.
yeah, the same
Although
like
it feels very powerful.
I mean, it's like, of course, because it's like it's. I mean, I think it's mostly because people didn't really saw Kindred for a long time, right? Like I don't even remember when last time she was in meta. And overall, I think people don't really like expect her to deal that much damage, you know. But she's kind of burst types champion. So yeah, she's like she can one shot you. Yeah, if you like ignore her. But yeah, I mean, she's like kind of the problem of Kindred is you're kind of AD carry, right? But with less resources than on lane. So yes, especially like in tournament games when games go slow, yeah, you can have problem with it.
It felt like it when in a few games when we had her. I mean, she was definitely a very strong addition. Especially interestingly enough, she especially worked well against Lilia, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of like
Yeah,
picked up with her.
yeah, it's like one of the like good picks into Lily because Lily kind of hate to play into range champions or like in general. So yeah, I mean I also like especially like in solo queue several times, but it's like it's not like Lily cannot play, you know. It's just like it's a bit annoying, you know. But if you play correctly, probably Lily should win this matchup anyway.
And Jarvan, I think that he like wandered off in here just because Volibear got banned, right? So if you have like Volley banned out there, then you either pick Jarvan or Lee Sin from this like old trio of junglers that we used to have in the meta, I believe before MSI, right?
I mean,
Or even at the
yeah,
time of
yeah.
MSI a little bit too.
Yeah, it's like I mean the thing is like with Jarl, he's like usually comes to the meta when it's like it's a good situation overall, like in other lanes, you know. And right now it's a bit hard because there's like Zeri on AD carry, Ezreal, right? You have like a lot of mobility overall, so you can't really get the use of his ultimate properly. But if there is like correct, for example, if enemy pick Twitch, right, you can get Jarvan like for free, you know. And Jarvan's like people forget that he's like pretty strong early on, you know. He can win like Wukong, he can win Volibear early on, especially like level 2, you know, he has like really powerful ganks. So he basically provide like a lot of stuff what like right now you kinda need, right, in team comp. But yeah, the main problem just like drafts is hard for him to play. But yeah, if you end up like with like Jinx versus Jinx, you know, then you're more than happy to just get Jarvan, you know.
And it feels like it's also a very good thing tying it up with the support meta because, yeah, well, Nautilus is Nautilus. He's just forever going to dominate the support meta, I believe, in a certain way and manner. But we had a lot of Enchanters support. We had a lot of Rakans and Yumis and, and Lulus and Namis appearing and Seraphine appearing a few times as well. And it feels like if you can't pick up the hard engage, like Nautilus or something else, then you can always opt into something like Jarvan, and you're going to be pretty much happy because Cataclysm just gives you so much edge in those team fights. And how do you want to play it, and what do you want to do?
Yeah, it's true.
But we have a newcomer when it comes to the jungle meta that we are going to have, I believe, after this week. So the next week when we're going to start, and we're going to go into week 6, then we are going to have Bel'Veth, the new jungler. And I was laughing my ass off when you were basically shitting on her uh, on Twitter. So I'm really curious to hear your thoughts because I haven't seen her yet personally, even in solo queue, because I either play solo queue really little because I don't really have a lot of time, or it just basically gets banned every single game, right? So I'm really curious to hear what do you think of that champion. It's another absolutely not overloaded kit, wink wink, right? So where are we at?
I mean, I think, but I mean, I personally I played like a little bit of games, so I feel like Bel'Veth is actually like pretty decent right now. Like the thing is, like when she got released, I think she was kind of weak, but then Riot for some reason in 12-12 nerf her and she became strong. Not sure
What?
how. I'm not sure how does it work, but yet like her win rate, like it was like 43, I think, win rate in solo queue. Diamond plus, and then it's like raise up to like 53. So it's like she get like 10 plus. It's of course not only from the patch, but also like people just kind of adapted to her and what she wanna do. But yeah, I mean, she's like looks pretty decent. It's kind of comfortable to play her. I mean, it's like enjoyable. This is the correct word, I think. And yeah, I mean, she's no, I mean, she's like powerful kind of jungler. She don't really wanna like ganks, you know, and I don't think she has like many tools to do so, especially like in early game. But yeah, I mean, she's like heavy objective control champion. If you get Herald right, you summon the little Voidals, and you can just end the game probably on one Herald. It's happened to me several times in solo queue.
Really?
So yeah, so it's yeah, I mean, she's like I think she's pretty strong for sure, especially next week because on 12-12B they nerf her, and but next week in RLs and in LEC right now it's 12-12, so she's like still strong. Yeah.
Ah.
And you're like, yeah, you have like a lot of damage. You have like, it's really hard to one shot you if you react with your E properly on the burst damage. So yeah, I think she has like a potential for sure in pro play. Well, see, I mean, I still didn't really like, I cannot tell you like 100% when she's gonna good and when she's bad. Of course, she has like problems with like high CC comps and like outrage comps because she doesn't have like many tools to close out the distance. But I think she has like overall like funny kit, you know. She has like I think she for sure has like her place. You know, she's kind of changing a bit the rules of the game because yeah, health is like really important. Even if you lose like 3 plates on bot for Herald move, it's probably worth with Bel'Veth because you can literally get like 2 towers no matter what with Bel'Veth. So yeah, I think she's like pretty strong overall.
I think we also owe a little bit of like not explanation, but for some of you who might have slept a little bit on the kit that Bel'Veth has, just to give you a quick explanation, Zanzarah might be just correcting me if I got something wrong because
Yeah,
I made a small like list of what she does, but basically her passive is that after you use an ability, she has 2 attacks faster. She has no attack speed cap, but attacks on hit effects do reduce damage. And she power farms because she gets like little crystals and voidlings from the big objectives like heralds and I believe dragons too. Right?
yeah. I mean, it's so basically she just get like a stacks, like 2 per champion killer or epic monster and 1 per like large monster and minions. And every stack gives you like from 0.28 to 1% attack speed. So basically, yeah, if you farm a lot, level 13, you have a lot of attack speed without attack speed items.
So you can slap people very quick and very efficiently, right?
Yeah, true.
Because apparently slapping is the new next thing. And then her Q is dashing in 4 different directions, somewhat similar to the weak spots that Fiora has, with the only reason that you like proc all 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
So you have to like dash in all 4 directions. It also applies on hits effects, so it's gonna work with things like Kraken Slayer, right?
Yeah, and like
she
Bork and stuff.
yeah, and she passes through you, so she's like got this passive Phantom Dancer in her.
Yeah.
Then with the W, that's basically the only CC that she has, which is the knock up in the air. Also, that reduces the cooldown of her Q in the direction of the champion hits, right? So you can use your Q a little bit faster and a little bit more efficient.
Yeah, so basically you can use like first dash to just get like in range, and then you double it, and then you have like the dash to this direction again, and then I mean like ideally, especially like an early game, you don't really have to attack that much because your auto attacks kind of not dealing damage, and just like in early game especially, your damage is this Q dashes, and you just trying to dash through champion 4 times, and then just
You're trying to wear your opponent off by just dashing through him constantly.
Yeah, just like dancing, around, like just laughing at him when he's missing skill shots.
I feel like Ezreal players are crying somewhere a little bit. Then you've got Harry, which is basically like somewhat similar to Fiddlestick's W, right? You've got damage reduction, you've got lifesteal, and then you deal more damage to targets with less hit health points. And this E scales with your attack speed, right?
Yeah, so it's basically like a Garen E scales with attack speed also, like just amount of the hits, and it's important to say what is like it's not AoE damage, it's hit like the closest target, I think, or target with the less percentage HP. So yeah, and also you have like execute on this ability and damage reduction, so it's good. Like usually it's like end skill, like when the guy is already low, just trying to use E. But because it has like damage reduction, it's also like kind of useful to use it just like when the enemy is focusing you. But it's just important to say, for example, if you get CC'd while during E, you're not dealing damage, but the damage reduction is still there. So yeah, like so it's like pretty good. For example, if you get like Nautilus ulted to just press E, so people like you're gonna lose damage, but you're not gonna lose your life.
So people are not gonna be able to burst you down. You can use it both offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
And then there's the ultimate, which has, I believe, 2 forms, which is passive and active form, right?
Yeah.
Passively, every 2 attack on the same target deals true damage, and those little corals that you drop when you, I believe, kill champions or big minions, large monsters. They are consumed to deal damage and then change forms, and in true form, you are faster.
It's different. It's different. What drops from champions from the thing what you said. This is the passive stacks, but ours basically just give you like worlds. Like I don't remember how that's called, but it's like void sharps or something like this. So yeah, like basically, if you kill a champion or epic monster, you can just use ultimate on the ground, and then it's gonna deal like AoE damage, give you true form, and heal you a bit. And it's important to know also, like for example, the void shards from the Nasher and Herald. It's it'll give you like empowered shard. So basically, your form staying not for 1 minute as usually,
but
it stays for 3. It's for 3 minutes, and every minion what dies in 1k range around you became a void.
Yeah, so they became a little voidlings.
Yeah, you can play a bit of StarCraft there and just make your own budget Zerg and just run enemy down.
Do we just basically have how's this guy called in StarCraft? Not in StarCraft. The Heroes of the Storm. We had this champion actually from StarCraft that used to like have this army and command those armies, but I can't remember the name of it.
Same, I don't remember actually. I mean, I probably know what you're talking about, but I don't really remember.
He's like Neruzoth or something like that. So we just get a little bit of this. And important to notice as well that in true form, you're faster, you have more health, right? So you get a boost to your max health. You have improved attack range and improved attack speed. And, which I believe I understood it right, you can dash through walls with her Q.
Yep.
So it gives you like much more mobility in those team fights as well. And when you look at the kit just in general, it feels like bread and butter to a lot of junglers at the current meta, because I feel like we do play a lot around the objectives, especially right now, especially with the durability patch, right? So it feels like she's going to be quite popular in the next week, to be fair.
I mean, yeah, we'll see. I mean, we saw like already several bans in LEC, for example, happening this week, right? But some teams is completely ignoring her. I think like people didn't really like figure it out what play she has like in the meta, and they're still trying, you know. But I feel she's like pretty strong. I think maybe it's not strong as a Wukong, you know, but you definitely can like pick it, you know, like 1-2, you know, if Wukong is out for sure.
Well, I believe she also has like a little bit of different use to Wukong too, right?
Yeah, of
so
course.
so she's going to fit into a different team composition, but it's going to be interesting to see. And
I mean, we need to like think about Bel'Veth like Viego, but
yeah,
also especially on 12-12, Viego got nerfed, right? So maybe Bel'Veth just gonna took his place, you know, and we're gonna see more Bel'Veth instead of Viego, and like probably, yeah.
You're basically reading my thoughts over here because I was thinking also about Viego, and I was thinking about Viego getting resets on Bel'Veth, and
Yeah,
sounds kind of strong to be fair, right? With paired up with the Heartbreaker to have that as your ultimate in your kit, and I'm also quite eager to see what's going to be the interaction if you kill Bel'Veth in her true form. Do you get the true form or the standard form of her? So I feel
I
like
mean,
this is
it's
going to have quite a
like
big impact too.
I mean, there is for sure some. It's gonna be some bug for sure. It's you know, it's just like a normal thing for Viego resets. You just get some random bug appears, you know, and probably we were gonna disable the champion again. So we'll see, we'll see.
Or both of them at the same time.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely she's gonna make a little bit of turbulence as well. We're gonna go along the way. Maybe not that turbulence as the next champion is going to do, Nyla, because I believe there was a lot of discussion around that champion since she had quite a few tools in her toolkit as well. But yeah, interesting to see. I expect the matchup of Bel'Veth and Viego kind of as the stable. But yeah, we'll see next week. But I'm very curious. I'm very curious to see where she's going to end up. Now moving on to the mid lane, I feel like mid lane didn't change that much in its core. We still have picks that scales very well into the late game. So like Victor, Corki, Azir is back too. To give you a little bit of a like numbers perspective, we've got Victor with 15 games, Arya with 10 games. Azir with 7, Corki, Galio, and Ornn with 6. Galio, important to notice, Galio is very popular with some of the players. So he's the kind of like a person here just because it's a comfort pick. Ornn, we will get to that because we have a very interesting shift in Ultraliga with a new, like, put it in quotes, meta. But when you look at the standard rotation, it feels really stable. Victor was popular almost all the time, while Ahri is just either a comfort pick or a good pick into Corki. And Azir Corki also like was there before, and it's a meta that we already have seen. So I feel like mid lane is both like has a very wide champion pool, but at the same time, it's kind of limited to those like scale picks.
I mean, yeah, for sure. I think it's like depends, of course, like on the league. You know, as we see, for example, in LEC, there is like more people like prefer to play like early game, but this is why we see like more like Ahri, Lissandra, right? But especially like in areas like Corki and Azir, like dominant picks. Like also a bit of the Victor. You know, it's like kind of the trio of these champions. And Ahri just like Ahri is basically just a better TF. So people, if they won't have like impact in the early game, they just pick Ahri. And then you don't really want to pick like Corki or Azir into Ahri. I feel like you just want to like pick something that's gonna match her and don't let her like snowball the game. This is why I guess we see like Galio and especially like Ornn. I think this pick just like good into Ahri, just like stop her like from doing anything, and especially if you have like good setup like all around in draft. So yeah, I mean, there's like not much change. I think like I didn't really touch mid lane for a long time. So yeah, I hope they're gonna nerf Corki next patch, so we can get rid of this champion finally. But yeah,
I wouldn't really mind to be fair, but So basically, to give you a little bit of a perspective, what we had in Ultraliga introduced by one of the squads by Goskiller, and it's actually Flatty who started to like do that type of thing. A former mid laner of, I believe, Vega Squadron was the last team he played in the LCL, but I'm not sure. But I mean, he played in a number of different
I'm not
teams.
sure. Yeah, don't remember exactly.
But yeah, we've got this like double top laner meta that we've seen already touched a little bit in the previous split, in the spring split, when we had like Renekton's mid and that type of thing. But now we like just almost straightforwardly get on mid quite often. We've got Cyan mid and Jace mid, and you would expect like something a little bit more like Lucian being played on the top lane, but no, it's for example on Cyan or on Jace, you know, and things like that. So not a support or a carry champion going to the top lane, but rather like almost of a standard rotation. So we get two big tanks-ish, with the exception of Jace in the game. But I don't feel like it's about the meta. I feel it's more about Ornn being that much of an impactful champion in the game in general.
I mean, maybe, yeah. I mean, like I think they for sure have like place to be, right? The champions on mid lane, but overall, for example, in the meta, when like for example, if enemy pick like Azir Corki, and we see it a lot, right? People even first pick Corki, you know. You don't really want to put all mid, I feel like, and I think you shouldn't be like really happy with this, because Azir and Corki, they're gonna have like early prior, right? Even Victor, right? They're gonna have like early prior, and they're gonna outscale you pretty hard, you know. Yeah, of course you're gonna have like gank setup right after 6, but it's all about like what level of the team, right? Because if your team play correctly about your Corki, you know, you're gonna have either Corki who has like perma pry, you know, outscaling enemy. It's a pretty tough situation, you know. So yeah, you just need the really correct scenarios to pick, and for sure this is not broken picks. It's just you know, sometimes there is good scenario, you can go for it, but it's not like you just pick it no matter what and win the games.
I am really curious to see who he played into. I'm going to try to look it up. We've got 6 matches, I believe, of Ornn, and let me just really quickly see. So we had I believe that's played on the mid lane against Talia.
Yeah, I mean, I guess yeah, makes sense versus Talia, especially.
Then we had him played against Silas.
That's definitely not the best matchup.
Interestingly, it was a win. Interestingly
I
enough.
mean, probably not because of the mid lane.
Well, Manny went 2-3-13 on Ornn in this game. It worked relatively well.
I mean, yeah.
Then we had him played against Galio, but that didn't work out. Well, because they were playing against Aggro, so whatever you do against Aggro, things just don't work out, as we see it by the tournament. Standings. I mean, Aggro is still undefeated, so it's not right. It's not surprising too much. Then we had him against Lissandra, which went really poorly for Warzi. And
I mean, actually,
Tristana.
Yeah, I mean, versus Lissandra should be fine, but I guess it was like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to like judge in isolation to see like the whole game, and maybe it was like the other team was like clear favorites, right? But yeah, I mean, I think Ornn is fine like into champs like Lissandra, Ari, right? Because he can like build early MR, and then they don't really deal damage to him. But yeah, versus like scale peaks, especially versus Silas, also not good.
And versus Tristana, he was played once, and that actually worked. This was the first time that we had mid lane. How do you say that? Mid lane Ornn. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I guess versus Tristana could be fine, right? Because I mean, it's like much easier to protect yourself from like AD damage right now than from AP. So yeah, I think it's. I mean, versus Tristana, we argued like after Frozen Heart, you're probably not dealing damage too, so you are probably happy.
Yep, that was basically exactly what we had there. Flatty ended up with the game with Thornmail, Frozen Heart, Steel Caps, the Ninja Tabis basically, and the Iceborne Gauntlets. Right, so it feels pretty stable in that particular regard. And yeah, this was one of those occasions when you had two top laners. We had Vladimir and on the top lane, and we had Ornn in the mid lane, and it felt pretty devastating, to be honest.
I mean, I think, yes, it's like true, right? But I mean, I think right now people like just still trying to like pick, like get some fun, with the picks. More usually, not trying to like get away from like Azir Corki handshake and just like have something like proactivity, especially when you like maybe you don't really doing that well in like later on, fights, so you don't really want to scale. You want to be like proactive early game. This is why, I mean, it's not a case for Vladimir, but it's a case for Ornn, right? So yeah.
On the other hand, to be fair, I am quite grateful because I got a little bit tired of the double support or the double support meta. I felt it was a little bit underwhelming in a certain manner of it, right? So that now we even get things like Ornn and Cyan mid. It feels refreshing in a certain way, and it feels pretty fun because whenever you have Ornn in the game while you're watching it, it feels really fun, to be honest, because you're always like trying to track him and see what he's actually going to do on the map. So, I'm not against it, not at all.
Yep.
Then moving on to the bot lane, it's another kind of stable one. We have Twitch to be one of the dominant picks with 14 picks. I believe at a certain point he was appearing in every single game. Then we have Ezreal and Jinx with 12, Xayah with 10, Lucian, Kai'Sa, and Zeri with 7. And then we've got Misfortune in there too. But I'm going to get to that point a little bit later. Or actually, you know what? No, screw it. Let's not get to the point later. I feel like Misfortune is the counter pick for Twitch.
I mean, she's definitely like strong online, right? And Twitch kind of struggle with it. So I guess it's good, It's still, I guess Twitch is like outscaling Misfortune pretty high. And it's not really comfortable for her to play the game. Like if she don't see other carry, it's like really hard for her like to place her ult properly, And Twitch probably just like one shot hit like with 4 afters later on. But yeah, I mean, personally didn't see MF that much. I think it's kind of only like Reckless, for example, playing in our league, and no one else kind of give up. But yeah, in general, right now, I think like Twitch, Ezreal, Zeri is kind of like top 3, especially right now, Zeri being flex pick. We see a lot,
Yeah, because we see her in mid quite often.
I mean, we didn't see like many illusions, right? Because it's like top 1 with bounce, probably. So this is why. But it's like, don't forget about this. But yeah, Twitch, Ezreal, Zeri is basically like the main keys, and then people like trying to counter it with like Ezreal with guys, like sometimes Zai. When like, I mean, I think Zai just the best crit AD carry overall. Like out of like Aphelios, Jinx right now feels like much better in the game. So yeah, I mean, with AD is kind of like stable. I don't think you have like many peaks right now.
Yeah, it just doesn't really feel so. With Zeri, it's also important to say that I don't know when it comes to LFL, but in Ultraliga, when we have Zeri mid, it mostly means that it's going to be Zeri AP, since she's apparently broken.
I mean, yeah. I mean, she got nerfed in 12-12, so next week we're probably gonna see her less. But yep, in previous patch she had like insane scalings, like 226 or like 262 on W from AD through the wall. So yeah, interesting scalings.
Oh damn. Well, I do remember that we had Zeri in a lot of like those Pong compositions when you just want to force people out of the objectives, especially like Nash, right? Because you have to be lined up to the walls, and then when you receive a Zeri's W for the quarter of your HP, it's basically like Nidalee, but on being bulky on steroids. Because you just throw it by your cooldown, and you're just forever making whoever is trying to take down Nasha, their life just miserable because of that Ezeri.
Yeah. I mean, I was more saying it's like a budget Lux kinda, who has like Lux ultimate as a normal ability. So this is maybe like one more reason, guys, to rework old champions a bit, because yes, it's like we became to the meta when like new champions have like ultimates, on basic abilities. So if it's interesting.
I have no idea who you're referring to.
Yeah.
No idea. Absolutely no clue. Mm-hmm. We're looking at Gwen, we're looking at Renata Glask. Anyway.
Yeah.
But other than that, it feels like on the bot lane, either you pick up someone who can be a very good weak sider, like Ezreal, right? Because your support can just abandon Ezreal and just go whatever the hell he pleases.
Yeah.
Or we've got those like carry champions, like Twitch, potentially like Xayah, like Lucian, like Zeri, right? There's a little bit of a stable point. We had Misfortune to be played into Twitch quite a few times, and it worked relatively well. It slowed down Twitch quite nicely, but yeah, when you started to go into like the later stages of the game part of it, I don't know how much of a viable option that is. But to be fair, mostly Misfortune is played by Looker in our league as well, who's like basically our Reckless. Quote,
I mean, yeah, it's more about like I think confidence in the champion. Yeah, I guess if you played it before, yeah, like happy to play it now.
And when it comes to the support, then it's pretty much straightforward too, because we've got Nautilus, who is basically dominating, the drafts just hard. You need that heavy engage, since you don't really have it in a lot of places, and it's a good beginning and it's a good follow-up too. Paired up with Wukong, it feels like a bloody amazing combination with 22 games on that Nautilus. Then you've got Senna, Rakan, and Yuumi with 10 games respectively, and then Karma, Lulu, and Nami with 8. Then there's also one Sona in there, or 2 games on Sona, but we're going to get into that topic just in a second. But yeah, it feels like when it comes to support, we had this little second when we received a lot of like Enchanter support, or when we needed the Lucian Nami combination, or Lulu and Kog'Maw. But in the end, it just gets beat down to the ground by Nautilus.
I mean, yeah, it's like, I mean, it depends, I think, on the preference. I think, like, right now, Yuumi kind of the best support overall. I mean, that's what I see, like, usually she just, like, banned, right? But, yeah, people, I think they just, it depends on the player still, right? If people want to play more proactive, there is, like, for sure, like, Nautilus, this way we see, I think, like, Nautilus, high prior, Rakan, we see a lot, right? I mean, Senna is banned a lot of times, but Senna just give you a lot of options. You can play, like, Senna Seraphine, or Senna Tahm-Kench. Like, there is a lot of flexibility with her.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, I think, from Arden supports, I think Yuumi is the best, and then we like see Karma a bit with Ezreal, right? Nami with Lucian only, and yeah, that's all.
It feels like, well, Yuumi has been probably the most impactful of the supports that we had, definitely, and we see her in being in bans a lot. Or if she's not banned, then she's the priority pick, right? People just like pick her up as soon as possible because they know that it's going to work well. But other than that, I feel like Nautilus is just going to be there for a really long time, because Leona can't do anything with Nautilus. Braum is kind of forced out as well. And, I mean, do we have any more Harding? Well, Rel, but I feel like everybody forgot about Rel's existence.
I mean, she's not really, like, I think she's just, like, too easy to outplay as a champion. So, yeah, this is why, like, Nautilus Rakan just higher.
Yeah, and Rakan, yeah, he's just also there. Then we had those weird Sona games, and I want you to solve our dispute, because on the English broadcast we see Sona to be a really, really weak support, while on the Polish broadcast we are getting told that Sona is actually a very good pick in the contemporary meta, and it feels really well. So I want you to be somewhat of a judge. So is Sona shit or gold?
I mean, overall, it's like depends, of course, in the situation. But I mean, I saw Son like several times, and mainly people think Son is like decent answer into Yumi. So, for example, yeah, if you decide to not ban Yumi and then like first pick Yumi, you just get like Sona lane, like Ezreal Sona, and you probably like win anytime, like no matter what. And Sona also had like decent scaling compared to Yumi. So I mean, she's like just like a good answer, I think, into Yumi. But other than that, you don't really want to play into Nautilus, into Rakan, into I think Karma and Nami. They just can like shit on you on lane. So yeah, it's basically just a niche pick into Yumi, and that's all.
Well, we had a few games with Sona, and I was trying to defend her from a certain point of view that if you have a hard engager in the enemy team like Wukong, then Sona can work relatively well thanks to Crescendo, right? And then the poking as well, so that you don't have to like use it as a skill shot, right? The empowered attack from the W, the auto, and then just the poke itself is pretty big. There's quite a decent damage in there. But
yeah,
I don't know. I feel like if you want to have Sona, you just pick up something like Seraphine and you're pretty much happy.
I mean, yes, Seraphine just better champion right now overall, you know. But it's like, I mean, I think Sony is just, I mean, too situational, you know. You basically literally can pick it into Yumi only, right? So like, if Yumi is banned, then like, yeah, and I'm not sure if it's worth to practice the champion just to pick with versus Yumi.
Yeah, right. So it's a strange topic from a certain point of view, but okay, I guess, right? So that'll be pretty much, in a certain point, that'll be pretty much it, because we don't really have a lot of things to discuss anymore. But I feel like what we are looking at is somewhat of a really stable meta, right? We don't really see a lot of changes from the moment that the durability patch got introduced. And I don't expect to see a lot of these changes as well, right? Mm-hmm. Because it feels like right now we're sort of in, okay, everybody figured out how the meta looks like, so let's just stick to it and try to work with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like this. Yeah. I mean, it's still, you know, I feel like, right, like there's like a lot, like there is like much bigger patches than before. Like overall, I feel like, especially, you know, like even this like 12B, you know, they count as like mid update, but it's actually like really huge compared to like overall patch. So I think just right, kind of trying to like shift the meta, you know, like a little bit, you know, trying to like buff like split push champions a little bit, you know, just buff like just kind of adjust the champions what got hit by durability patch. So yeah, I mean right now is kind of boring overall meta. I feel like overall with this like Azir Corki, like it's like the 20 minutes farm, not really fun. I mean in RL so for sure much more action, right? But yeah, just in general I think. So I just hope like the Riot gonna focus on this like later on and we can see like more active games.
The only positive, not positive, I don't want to put it this way, but the only like fun part that I see about it is that we get quite a lot of good skirmishes when it comes to the like objectives. So
yeah,
that would, you know, pleases me when I look at the games, when I cast them. But outside of that, yeah, it feels sometimes that you're in a deja vu situation when you've seen exactly this, like exactly the same champions and exactly same team compositions, and just exactly everything is the same and being executed in the very same way. So hopefully with Bel'Veth, we're going to have a little bit of changes because she kind of shifts, I think, the ideas a little bit. So hopefully in the next week, we're going to have a little bit of those changes. For now, though, .esports let me down. Do you know why?
No.
Because I'm not going to have the usual best champions to play in solo queue.
Oh,
because there is no article on this. Mateusz Schmitter was the one to write those articles, and he doesn't have one yet for the patch 12.12. Or at the very least, I can't find it. It's either one of the two.
Disappointed also.
I am disappointed really, really much. But we do have top lane, best champions in top lane, and best champions in June the 13th. Wait, June the 13th. No, that was quite a long time ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, long time, not gonna lie.
Long time no see. Yeah, but we do have the best top lane champions and best AD carry champions. So, like, okay, screw it. Let's go at least and have a look at that. So, for the top lane, best champions that we've got. This is the information by June of 28th, so it's relatively fine. It's relatively fresh. We've got Wukong.
Okay, no.
Don't believe there's any win rate, but yeah, you've got it there. Then you have Darius.
Okay, yeah, I take that.
Mordekaiser.
It's fine, I guess. Not sure about this champion.
Aatrox.
Yeah.
Kayle.
Yeah. I mean, Kayle is actually pretty strong right now, right? I mean, if you execute it correctly.
And that's it. So this is something you've got for the top lane. And that's for the patch 12.12. I believe 12.13 hasn't been yet introduced, right?
I mean, there is not even patch. That's 12.13. So.
Yeah, good. I'm getting confused with the numbers, okay? Too much numbers.
I mean, it's just B, you know, because it's a balance, you know? It's like,
yes,
you know,
B
12-12.
balance.
It's like 12-12 is not balanced, and 12-12 B is balanced. This is why it's B.
This is basically like study the alphabet with Riot Games. B for balance, O for overload, and K for kit. Anyway, now for the top 5 AD carries, we've got Jhin.
Not sure about that one. Don't think the champion is legal.
Draven.
Okay, pretty good into Kalista, I guess, right now. I mean, it's overall good solo queue champion, right?
Misfortune.
I guess the same as with the Draven, right? Like all the lane dominance AD carry is kind of like shining, right? I mean, she's kind of like self-efficient, you know. You don't need to like. You can be like you can do things on your own.
Yeah, she's strong and independent.
Yeah.
Twitch, understandable. To be fair.
Yeah, one of the best AD carries right now in the meta, I think.
And Ashe closes up the 5.
Yeah. I mean, we saw it like usually on support, right, Ashe? But I saw like, for example, in the LPL they're playing that, and in Korea I think I saw several times AD carry Ashe. But I'm not sure about, honestly. Didn't see the champion in EU for a long time.
We've had a few Ashes. I think, yeah, we had Ashe on support, actually played by your former teammate, Tromsky.
Yeah. I mean, support I know, but I think just like as a carry, she kind of lack damage, I feel like, in this meta.
Yeah,
overall.
Yeah, it feels so. Like, not enough to match someone like Twitch and Zeri and even Xayah, right? So it's a bit of a stranger one. But regardless, you do have your tips right now, ladies and gentlemen, so you can use them to whatever take you want. But yeah, that pretty much wraps up this Champions queue. I feel like we didn't went as long as we go usually, just because the meta is relatively stable. Although after the next week and the week after, maybe we're gonna get some interesting turbulences again. All hopes from my side go towards Bel'Veth. I really do hope that she's gonna make some nice changes and maybe force teams to draft just a little bit differently. But probably not going to happen, because people are not just going to play her because people haven't figured out yet.
Yep.
And on that very positive note,
yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for sticking here with us for this episode of Champions Queue. Now we are on YouTube, and we are also available on Spotify. Can you believe that?
Not bad, actually.
All right, so
growing a bit, you know.
We're both growing and growling, to be fair, because so you can pick the platform where you feel comfortable listening to our rambling about champions and the way you should play them. So we will see you, hopefully without any delays this time around, in 2 weeks. maybe in the same setup, maybe with some nice guests along the way. But for now, I was joined here by Zanzarah.
Yep.
And
it's true. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, it's a fact. Yeah.
You're gonna be surprised, guys. And my name is DrBrilmann. So thank you very much, and we will see you in the next episode of Champions Queue.